Hi there, I'm Liz Locke. I'm an Information Security Program Manager at Cofense, and today I'm here with Diane.
Hi, I'm Diane Pacheco. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer of the Jackson Laboratory. We're a genetics research facility with locations in Maine, Connecticut, California, Japan, and China.
Thank you. So you have a mature and effective security awareness program. Can you tell me what you did to get there?
Sure. I will say it's a program that took us quite a long time to build from where we started to where we are today. We started in 2018, or was it 2016?
It was 2018.
2018, great, better memory than me. And we started slow. I think that was an important thing for us to do, to not try and do too much at once. And I will quote our former CEO, who really appreciated the way that we introduced phishing awareness into the organization. Was we really changed the culture. We kind of did a slow drip of getting people used to having a reporting button and just teaching them, hey, if you see something suspicious, simply push the button and let us know that you have something suspicious. And we practiced that and we got people used to doing that. And then we started running simulations. And when we started rolling out simulations, we didn't do the whole organization at once. We went department by department, smaller groups, and communicated to those groups and did kind of welcome to the program. This is the way it works. This is what we're expecting you to do. We want you to learn. We have been clear all along, this is a safe environment. Our goal is to teach you to recognize something that might be malicious and report it. And then we graduated up to running simulations against the whole organization every month. And we've been doing that. And I will say, we started out and our susceptibility numbers were not fantastic. And it took a lot of communication and a lot of practice. And I want to say our average susceptibility so far for this year is around the 4%. And we've equally made it important to people that reporting is a major part of our protection, that when people report, you actually give us the tools to know that something is happening in our environment, and we can be very proactive in removing messages from people's inboxes and communicating what the risk is, and just alerting people to be more cautious because something is happening. So our reporting rates are typically 50-60% in our organization, which I understand is high.
That's great. No, that's great. And you're right, your reporting rates are excellent. So were you facing, or what business challenges were you facing that promoted you to seek a more comprehensive email security solution? So, why did you choose Cofense, essentially?
I will say, I'm going to quote an old boss, don't ever let a good emergency go untapped. And we did have a big emergency where one of our employees unfortunately had their account compromised, and that account was used to execute phishing against our employees, and it was a big wake-up call. This was in 2017, and people were just starting to hear a lot about phishing back then, and people were trying to figure out, what do I do about this? How do I get my arms around this? And we used that event to say, that's it, we're done. We've got to build a big program around this. We've got to make our employees smarter. And we realized that our employees absolutely we're kind of the last line of defense. We have email filtering that happens. There's a lot that gets taken out of our email before it gets to people's inboxes. But when it gets to your inbox, you need to know what to do with it. And so it was that event that was our tipping point, to say we can't just tell people to be careful. We needed them to have a consistent way to report. Before we implemented the reporter tool, people will take the path that they want to take. They would call their favorite person on the service desk, or they would send me an email, or they would tell their manager. And when you have that reporting all over the place, you lose the opportunity of pulling it all in one place and seeing actually what's happening. So the reporter tool was pretty critical for us in getting the program off the ground. So I don't think we're different from a lot of organizations where something happens and you have to react to it. I'd love to say it was the reverse of that, and that we had the crystal ball and we knew that we needed to do something before we did. We're much smarter these days than we used to be.
Well, and that flows nicely, because I was wondering what does intelligent email security mean to you now compared to when you started your program? Because it's pretty different.
Right. So when we started, we were unsure of what was coming in and what were people reporting. And so our eyes were on everything all the time. We were hand managing everything and looking at everything. And over time, as our program matured, right, we've got the reporter, we're doing simulations, we added triage, and we're literally letting our employees send those messages to Cofense and have Cofense kind of assess and send the results back to the employee. Hey, good job. This really was a threat. And then getting those messages to our service desk. Hey, if this person clicked on this, really, these are all the steps that you need to take with this individual. It's this type of threat, and getting the security team in there. It's automatic. One, you're addressing the human piece of phishing. You've got to have the tools in place. You have to teach the people when to use the tools and how to use the tools. And frankly, I don't care if people report a lot of spam. I know a lot of people don't like that. They'd like to see the spam deleted and just teach them to report what they think is malicious. But I'd be more conservative than that. I would rather have you report everything instead of nothing and take a risk. But to not have to hand manage everything that's there, it's taken care of. And I love that I get so much data back about what's happening in our organization. I live and breathe in that data. It's fascinating to me. How much time did you spend on the education, and were you susceptible next month? Or how many of the messages that were reported by Jackson Laboratory employees were unique to Jackson Laboratory as seen by others in the world? And that's very interesting to know. There's a portion that's specific to us. And so, there's something there, but then there's everybody else is seeing these too, and don't take it personally.
No, that's an excellent point. And you pretty much answered the next question I was going to ask too. So thank you. That's pretty cleanly done. So one of the things I admire about your program is that it has a consistently positive tone. Is that intentional?
Absolutely. If people don't feel like they have a safe place to kind of learn, and that you turn it into a performance issue for failing, then you make it harder for them to do the right thing. And I think it becomes a barrier for them learning. One of the things that we've done consistently is to gamify. We're getting ready for Cybersecurity Awareness Month, right? October is coming up. We have all kinds of identify the fish contests that we're planning. We're planning on reaching out. Oops, I probably shouldn't say that. And saying thank you to all of our employees that are consistently reporting. And we've got a good number that every month report. And people like that. I've had more people say, it's like a game for me. Every time I get an email, I'm looking at it and going, hey, is this a test that I pass? And so it makes them really engaged in reporting potential phishing messages. And they don't know if this is a real one or the test. And we have individuals in our organization that every month basically message me, where am I in reporting? Am I number one? Am I number one? Am I number one? Because I am killing it. I am doing awesome. They can't catch me. And that's the kind of program I want, is that people are excited to be part of kind of the security and not just a passive bystander. So yes, very intentional to keep it positive.
I love what you said there about keeping people kind of part of the process so that they're in it and not just experiencing it. I think that's fantastic.
Security takes a village. Security takes a village. It is not a small team that keeps everything secure. And I think the other piece that's important is everything that we're teaching our employees about security in the workplace. We want them to take that home, to talk to their families, their children, their parents. And we try and weave a lot of that. What does it mean at home to be secure? As part of that, again, it's security is a community sport.
That's an excellent way to say it. So you, what advice would you offer someone who's working to create a mature, intelligent email security program? What would you do differently?
Oh, what would I do differently? I'm not sure I would do a whole lot differently. I had great support from our senior management. When I started going, you have an event that gets everybody's attention. And I wouldn't say have an event that gets everybody behind you, but that was actually, that catalyst actually made it easier for me to roll out the program, because people experienced that day and they understood why we were doing it. But we had senior management support. We had a really good story to tell. We did it slowly. We didn't try and take on too much all at once. In the beginning, we had shiny, hey, we can do this. And we realized very quickly, we need to slow this down. We've got to get people used to this. Communicate. Every way to Sunday, every way you can think about it, bathroom signs, flyers. One of the challenges now is, how do you get communication to people who are working remotely, right? It's your internal website, email, Slack channel, Yammer, whatever it is in your organization. Talk it up, find champions, gamify it, giveaways, right? The cheapest thing, a $20 gift certificate, or a coffee card or something. You would be amazed at how engaged people will be for a $2 coffee card. So I think about what I would change. I probably wouldn't change much.
That's awesome. That's what a great place to be standing, right? Where you're pretty satisfied with where you are. And
well, I want it to be better every time. So
I know.
One of the we keep making our simulations harder and harder and trickier. And when we do a specifically tricky one and a lot of people come back susceptible, I'm like, oh, people like, And so I know I need to make them harder to get people better. And I can't base my program just on having low susceptibility and high reporting numbers. If I'm not having those kind of peaks of I gave them one that was really hard and oh God, a bunch of people failed. Guess what? I'm going to come at you again. Are you going to fail again? Because then I'm going to start a whole different line of communication and say, we need to make sure people understand this is the way you're going to get invited to a meeting, or this is the way we're going to share a document with you, or this is what this logoed page should look like if you get brought to it. This is what's normal, things like that, right?
That's a great point to kind of target the folks who need it and not everyone. So you're spending your time and energy really efficiently and addressing people with what they need.
Right. I had one person suggest to me, if I've done good, 3 months in a row, can you leave me alone for the 4th month? And I don't really want to. I'm sorry, because the way people are attacking keeps changing. And we need to make people aware of what the hacker tactics are. And so I can't really exempt you. It's a great idea. I'd love to reward you, but I'll give you a coffee card and not necessarily a free pass.
That's a great approach. No, that's entertaining always to see the different approaches that work, or maybe interesting is a better way to say that. Your program truly exemplifies intelligent email security. I mean, I've loved watching it grow. I think you do a lot of things that can be meaningful for a whole different spectrums of people, whether it's department or as a whole, or different groups within your organization. And I just have loved it. So I really appreciate your time. I thank you, and stay secure. Take care.
Thank you.